Previously on Love Notes.
If you come and say, I've been dating so-and-so for 2 months and y'all getting ready to get married, I'm giving you the side eye.
You have not been able to hold down a job. That means you have no level of commitment. You can't be with me. Why have I not met your cousins? I want to know because I'm committing my heart and my soul till death do you part.
Everybody, super nice at first.
Time is very, very, very important. Very important. So that back home there's a proverb that my grandmother used to say when we had friends come around the house. She's always like, show me your friends and I'll show you your character. And then she would say, character is like a pregnancy. It doesn't you don't stay pregnant for a long time. After 9 months, you're going to have that baby. Your attitude is going to show after a while. So you're going to birth that, eventually. So she always says, take your time and know your friends. Take your time and know your friends. So in hearing all that you guys said, I also want to ask on the flip side. The time, say you meet somebody and you've been dating for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And
Hello.
That's he's not planning on marrying you, honey. It's time to move on.
You need to know he don't like you like that.
and he keeps saying, I still can't, I don't know who I am. I need to find myself.
You time to find that, dude.
Move on.
So for that question, yeah, you got like 2 years, and I'm probably checking out because once again, I'm 55. If you and I don't know what we doing, I need you to get space to do now. I can do me. Yeah. I ain't got 7 years to get nobody. No.
Yeah, so I think that's okay. The sad part about life is that when you're young, your life is cheap. You can, at the age of 24, you can quit your job. You can go open up, I don't know, a business making lights with not a penny in your pocket, and you can hustle at it. Maybe you get lucky. 20 years from now, you'll be a multimillionaire, or maybe you'll be unlucky and you'll fail in 6 months. So when we're younger, we really don't care. Well, I should be careful. We don't care as much about the consequences of our actions. Fall in love? Yeah, sure. I just know you 2 days ago. Yeah, let's go get married right now. I mean, I literally know people who got married after 2 weeks, and some are still happy and some are not. But I mean, the whole point of it is that, when we're younger, we're more fearless. We're more bold. We'll do whatever, like, whether it's within the, spiritual life or, secular. But you're right. I mean, the older we get, the more it's like, oh, you got to come with everything sorted. The sad part is, I don't think we should worry so much about time in terms of, like, do you have to have 18 months? Should you have 2 years? Should you have 3 years? I mean, so what if it takes us 6 years to get married? I mean, are we not still happy together? Is that not a positive thing?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
I would only say if you both agree to that. So you've been very candid in those conversations, and you said, how long do you say? And we both say open-mindedly we want to say that, and that's an agreement. But I would never be able to have that conversation with somebody and tell them that.
I don't know any woman that's going to say,
Amen.
for 6 years, I'm okay for you to string me along for 6 years. I remember when I was much, much younger, it was a male friend. It was one of my brother's friends. He said, a guy can engage you forever. He said, just because you're engaged to a man doesn't mean anything. He said, because he can engage you forever. And sometimes that's a trick that's used. It's like, yeah, you're mine. I love you. Here's this ring. And maybe even not a ring. I'm going to marry you. And then the woman will stay there 6, 7, 8, 9 years waiting for that promise to be fulfilled. No.
No, I'm sorry. I'm laughing at a bunch of different. I'm laughing at the message you just preached. yeah, that's so different. But I know of a person that they were together for 15 years, and then she just got married like last year. And in my mind, I mean, congratulations, but I'm like, you did it. I mean, all you did was sign a paper. 15 years, that is a long time. To each their own, but come on, I feel like I'm worth more than that. 15 years, that is a long time. So
this is just my perspective again, right? When it comes to the 15, I mean the 6 years, that's a long time because men are chasers, right? If you know what you want, you commit, right? So I do understand. My eyes are set on you. Now let's get to know each other, get our finances in order, get my job. I mean, get to know how we flow together to see if this is worth repeating for the rest of my life, right? So I know you for, like I said, we did it for 4 years, getting to know each other and get ourselves in place. But my feeling is that when you start going 6, 7 years, right, then there is no plan. There is no plan, right? We're just going, and I'm gonna go here if you guys wanna go with me. At that point, at 6, 7 years, you guys already been intimate. Yeah, because I preached a message once with my youth once, and I said, after holding hands for a while, it gets boring. Seriously, like I need a peck, right? That tells me we're moving on to we are more personal. After a while, the peck gets annoying. I want a kiss. After that, the kiss develops into something else. And I always say it's all of a sudden, it graduates. So after 7 years of spending time together, yeah, I mean, he's married. Yeah. You are married, you are doing married things, but not having the blessing of a covenant relationship. And so for that, I mean, I don't recommend that. I personally don't even recommend long engagements. It's one thing if you're saying, I'm still single, and so therefore, after 4 years, let's get married. After the engagement, better wrap it up quick. Because that's the temptation. We are engaged. We are at the marriage door. What keeps us from being intimate? After all, I've already given you a partial promise that I will marry you. At that point, it just keeps going, and then it becomes there is a lot more room for ungodliness when time just goes. Now, first 3, 4 years, no, it's clear. But after a while, I mean, I just came to visit. It's 1 o'clock. I guess it's too late. I'm just here till the morning. All of a sudden, he brings his shoes in the house. Now he's changing for work in your house. His car is parked. So all of a sudden, he done moved. Is what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, things become ungodly, and just the perspective, right? The side of it. He's always there. He's there before the party started. When the party was over us too, everybody left. He's still there. I came to pick up my glasses in the morning at 7. He opened the door. Okay, he's got too much time. You guys, please. I mean, what's your thought on that? I just think the more it goes, the more it gives room for the enemy to move, especially when there's no plan.
I would say for me, my dad taught me that a long time ago. Like when you start to date and you are in that phase, you're not supposed to pretty much like give him all of you. Or live this married life and not have any commitment, because if you give him everything, the wifely duties, everything, there's no reason for him to commit because he doesn't have to, So I learned that a long time ago.
Yeah. Anybody else want to address it?
Just thinking about what she says, that's absolutely right. The longer and the more for a woman, I mean, the reality is probably going to give in and give in to those desires and give in to what the man wants because we want to please him. And we know that this is.
If you love me.
Yes,
if you love me,
yes. And anybody that's been dating for more than a year or two, they're lying if they say they haven't done anything else other than just hold hands. I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, if we're talking about a man and a woman, that's just the reality. And so I agree with what you said, Pastor, and I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective. Once they get engaged, okay, let's go ahead and hurry up and make this official because we already know what's coming next. I mean, that's just the reality.
Cool, cool. All right, so I'm going to ask the next question. What is the most important thing in a relationship? Trust, respect, love, honor, financial stability. What when it comes to a relationship? I guess this is very open, so you can address whatever relationship you want to address. But in the love relationship, is it in dating? What is the most important thing you're looking for in engagement? In marriage, what is the important thing you guys think is for a relationship? I'm giving you freedom to just explore.
I think in the dating life, the most important thing is, well, patience. Because, I mean, she was talking about earlier, like, she was like, well, I got to get to know the real you or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we have different colors to us. We're not just black, we're not just white, we're not just purple. Like, there's shades to you. You might be really, I don't know, let's say you're very organized in terms of your closet from light colors to dark colors, But at the same token, taking those clothes out of the closet and wash them is like a big struggle. I mean, right? No. Again, this is just an operative example, all right? I couldn't think of anything else at the time, right? But all right, just in terms of an operative example, so do you now look at like, oh my God, I cannot be with you because look at you, you can't wash your clothes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but look at how organized he is and everything else. Like, so how about a little bit more patience with the person that you're getting to know? Because again, you're trying to learn the person. I think the problems we all have in dating is like we see negatives and we're just, no, I can't stand that. You stepped in mud 5 times a day. Like, no, I can't stand that, which I think turns to be a problem. As a man in in marriage, I think respect. I can deal with everything else, but once you don't respect me, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the use? I'll take you and your belongings, and it was nice talking to you.
And when you say respect, what do you expect? What does that mean?
My points of view to be taken into consideration, regardless of whether I'm right or wrong. Like, because when people not reject, but when they belittle your points of view and everything. Yeah, thank you very much. When they dismiss your points of view or even your way of doing things, it really then ends up being one of the reasons why couples tend to hate each other later on in life. I think as a person, I don't care even if I'm wrong, but if I say, listen, I want to go down this road because I think that's the path back to the highway, I would love for you to at least have the respect to be like, you know what, bump it. Let's take that path. We'll go down. We'll see if that's where the highway. If I end up failing, hey, you can always come back and like, I told you so later. But at least don't sit there like, no, stop the car right now. I'm not going down that path. That's the wrong road. Blah, blah, blah. Good Lord, like, can I try?
Got you.
That was good. Anybody else? I would say for me, I know like the main things is the financial and all of that, but for to take it like deeper on a deeper level for me, I think when it comes to not so much the dating, but when it's time to be married, I think for me, I really praying and longing for just emotional stability. That just goes back to just the things I've been through, past relationships, family issues. I want to know that you are emotionally invested. I always use this example, like when I'm talking to my friends, just think of like, okay, like when a child comes home from school, oh, how was your day? And you just let them go. But, when you talk to them and you sit them down, where's your mind at? How are you? Are you happy? Just having that conversation. A lot of relationships that I've had, it was none of that. It was just surface level things. Oh, let's go have fun. Oh, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. But like, talk to me and see where I am in my heart. Talk to me, see where I'm in my mind. Because even as believers, we deal with things. We go through things. And I feel like for me, that's something that I've always longed for. It's just someone that even if I'm right beside you, that you just look at me and say, how are you? So I'm looking for like that emotional stability and someone that can pretty much understand me on that level. I'm a very emotional person, but someone that just can understand to that level.
I would say for me, there's a few different things. One, we do need to have the same faith because that is going to be the framework for the choices you make in life. We may express our faith differently. I may be the person that's waving their hand and you may be the person just quietly there praying, but I need to know that we serve the same God. and not in a religious facade sort of kind of way, but I need to know that your go-to is not going to be getting drunk. Your go-to is going to be praying for me. I need to know that your go-to is not going to be hanging out with all the friends and talking dirty about me, that we're going to talk. So not just I'm a Christian, but that is a root cause for your decisions in life. So that has to be one thing. The second thing, and I mentioned this with the gentleman, we were dating like on the second date. I'm dating to get married. I'm not dating to be dating. So what does that tell you? I'm communicating. And one of the things that I wanted to, when we talked about, I said, can we be in a relationship where whatever question is, I ask you and you ask me and you have to answer? And we agreed on that like on the third date. And that has been difficult, but it has been rewarding, because if we can't communicate, there's going to be times you're not going to have sex. Somebody's going to be sleepy. There's going to be a time where you're going to argue. And at the end of the day, you may only have communication. And if you can't communicate, what are you going to have? So being able to communicate with you is important to me. And I always want to feel like I like you. I always want to feel like I want to be in your presence, that at the end of the day, that you are my go-to. You are the person that I want to share my first experience with. You are the person I want to hold my secrets. You are the person I want to spend life with and do that. We may not always be happy, but I still want to be with you at the end of the day. That is important to me.
She said it all, huh?
Just all good. This is just so good. I guess for me is Simba mentioned respect, and I need to be able to trust the other person, because I don't have time to. Like if Cherry was a pastor, that's it's male dominated. She's around a lot of men, and I mean, you got the church, all the other pastors, all the big conferences that she goes to. So, just in any relationship, I really need to be able to trust you, and that'll come. You'll know. And if you can't trust them, I'm telling you, just get out the door. Yeah. Because it's not going to change. It's really probably not going to, be able to fix that.
So for me, I think the most important thing, I mean, everything that's been said has been good, and it's all important, but for me is the willingness of both persons to submit their will to the other. And by that I mean, because we can be very self-centered and very selfish just in our own natural state, but recognizing that, putting the other person first, so that it's not, well, why won't he wash those dishes? But it's, I'm going to go ahead and wash those dishes, or just recognizing that in a committed relationship, you have to think about the other person more than you think about yourself. Because if you don't, then it's always going to have to be your way. And if it's always has to be your way, eventually the other person is going to feel disrespected and not want to be a part of the relationship.
Yeah, it is very important that we like each other. for me, because this season that we've been through since last year, this COVID time, so many people have found out whether they like each other, or not. And I've realized that when you go on your appointments for your women appointments or your yearly appointments, they ask you this question. They're like, are you okay at home? Like, I guess it's gone around that people are not happy. People are getting abused at home. So in the women hospital, they do sit you down and they ask you questions. How is the relationship between you and your spouse? And when she asked me that, it was strange to me, because I was like, you never asked that question. And she's like, oh, I just want to know everything okay. I'm like, oh, he likes me. He likes me a lot. No, he would rather have it this way, that I stay home all the time. And then she's like, oh, okay, no further questions, no further questions. But it's very important that you you like to be in the presence of each other. And that means you communicate very well. You know, that means there's so many things that are going right. And that is why you like to be, you know, in communication with each other. So, my next question is, what do you see as your best character trait?
So when I read that, I was thinking of character, but then I was like, okay, personality. And so personality, I looked at it one way. Character, that I am committed. I am a committed person and I am trustworthy. And when I'm in it, I am full on in that. If there's something going on and we have committed, and I think I'm like that just with friendship or just who I am as a person. But be, one of the things that Randy said, the ability to trust, that comes with that because I am filleting my soul open to you and giving you everything. If I can't expect that, I want that same thing back. It may not always be good or bad, but I want to know that you are committed because you can say you love somebody, but it's not a feeling. That commitment equates to love to me. That means that when I have got on your last nerve, that you still committed to me. That it's not just going to go. This is not a fleeting situation going here and there. That means we are in here. And maybe because I have been to till death do you part. And I understand what that means, that when somebody's sick, are you going to take care of them? Do you leave? So that ability to be, when you say I do and you're in there, consider the cost like we do with our salvation to what that relationship looks like and to be committed, because that equates to love than that first time I saw you and I got butterflies. 10, 15 years down the road when they got hair growing on their back or something going on. Are you still committed? Do you still like that? I mean, when you're young, you don't have all your hair, stuff happens on your body, or somebody got a scar or something happened. Yeah. Are you committed? So that is important to me.
Anybody else?
I think for me, what I bring, I get the best trait that I have in the marriage is same thing as what Tina would say, that when I'm in the relation, I'm in all in, and I'm doing everything that I can to make sure on a daily basis that I'm focused on creating a home of peace and a place where my husband would want to be, and that I present myself as a person that my husband would want to be around, and that I'm always focusing on making sure that I'm doing my part. I'm in. I mean, I'm all the way in. I don't have outside friends. I mean, I have, women that I talk to, but I don't bring women into the house because it's about me and him, And so I'm going to focus on him and our home and our relationship, and I'm trustworthy. I know that I'm trustworthy because I make sure that I'm trustworthy.
I would say for me, how do I put this? I would say the ability to love. I didn't realize it or how to even put into words. There was a point where I was really like crying and praying, like, God, I don't want to love people so much. But that you can't pray and ask God. That is truly a gift. But someone told me, don't lose that. You have I think it was a guy or girl, I don't know who it was, but they were like, Michaela, you have this way about you that you love so much that the person, you make sure that they never forget that they're loved. So for me, I would have to say just knowing how to love, I love in itself, but I want whoever it is, like you said, whether it's like you're committed to a friend or in a relationship, that's one thing you would never have to question is if I love you or if there is even love present, So for me, that's love. I think I come from that. I'm what is it? Pruned from love, So it's just I'm love. That's all.
So Randy, do you want to add anything to it?
Between my wife and a couple of things that Tina had put out, I mean, I am that committed one. I am just all in, and you try to do everything. I try to do everything that is best for us. I try my utmost to be the most respectful that I can be, and I would just never, it would just crush me if I did anything that would make Sherry disappointed in me. So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's cute. On that note, no, just kidding.
Easy to love.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. And so I want to ask this question. And for those of you who are single, you can answer it right now. For those who are in a relationship, you can, you are in the fine point, and then you're already married. What is your perspective on singleness and the value of it? Because sometimes we rush through life to get married and then miss out on the time of building ourselves, enjoying, the time of being with, being not married yet or not in a relationship yet. So, what is it about singleness, if I can say it this way, not in a bad way, that you miss? What do you value in your singleness? Because that's very important. We have many people watching that are like, I'm not married yet. So what do I do now? What is it about my singleness that is so valuable to God, or that is so good that I shouldn't necessarily rush to get married or hitched up because I'm single? Oh, everybody's going to answer everybody. Yes.
When you went back to pretty much that self-centered section, there's a season. That is your season to do that. Time and place for everything. So while you're single, you have all the room you want to not have to answer anybody, and not feel bad for it. Spiritually, no distractions. Going back to that message, I was just like in that message. But right now, as I'm single, like there is no distractions. Being in the presence of God should be absolutely easy. But I think in that natural point, if you want to be selfish with your time, then do that, But like you said, once you even start dating to get married, all of that shifts and it changes. And you have to know what season that is, and you have to move accordingly. Because if you go into a marriage and you're still living in that headspace, you're going to start messing stuff up. So that's what I think about it.
Being single, the best thing is, I think that's how you said it.
All of it. Whatever you heard, that was the question.
I think really having time to enjoy yourself and, like she said, be your own boss. Because unfortunately, you get into a relationship with somebody, a permanent relationship with someone. Now, like I think somebody else said, like you have to cater to the other person's desires. No, we're gonna take this road instead of taking this road. We're gonna do this instead of doing that. You have to worry about somebody else's viewpoint, and rightly so, because now you're one of a couple instead of just a single person by yourself. And then also you get to know yourself better than you would in a unit and everything. Because I mean, you come from 0 to 18, you're in your mom's house, you don't know who you are. You just listen to whatever your parents say, technically. And then from 18 to however long you live, you have so much time to learn, hey, you know what? I really don't like peas. I've just been shoving them in my mouth all this time because my mom hates it. Now, when I go into my next unit, I'll be able to tell my significant other, hey, please don't cook peas for me. Or I will not be cooking peas because I really don't like peas. I mean, and that's just coming from a material standpoint. I think, yeah, and let me stop there because I was about to go with what she said about the spiritual. But, I mean, I think really a single person can learn who they are, what they like, and where they're going in life much easier than they would be if they were part of a committed couple.
I think as a single person, it is crucial to spend that time with God, finding out who you really are in Him. What Simba said about, I left home. When I left home, I was with my first husband and then my children. So I never lived on my own until my daughter went away to college. And that was about 2 years before I met Randy. And so during that 2 years, I was completely alone for the first time, and I was with the Lord. And during that time, God showed me who I was, and I learned how to be in a relationship with myself and with God, which I had never done before because I was always focused on the people around me. So I think that is crucial. Instead of looking for a spouse, look for who you are in God, because once you become a partner or get into a marriage relationship, then your focus needs to be, you should be okay, you should be mature, and now your focus is going to be on the relationship and the other person. Whereas, I was almost 50 years old, and I thought I knew who I was, but I found out that I didn't. So that 2-year time period, I look back now, when I was in it, I felt it was awful. I said, I'm by myself. I'm coming home, the house is empty, and nobody's here, and I don't have a man, all that stuff. And so I began to focus on the Lord. And that was a time that I really needed to prepare to be a wife to Randy. Because if I did not have that time, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, I think you need that, so that single time, like Simba and Michaela were saying, you do get to kind of know yourself. I think also during that single time, you need to be happy and content with yourself. I'm good. I was telling a friend of mine that I used to sell real estate, so I had closed the deal, and I went and had dinner to celebrate. Just me. And that was the strangest thing to them. And I'm like, oh, no, I was good. I'm good company. Trust me, I'll tell you. I'm fine just with me. So you kind of need that time too, and then that time to get with the Lord. Now, maybe getting a little bit off topic, but I want to throw this in because a lot of people, when they get into relationships and they get married, it's because of something that they wanted from the other person. That, wow, she's light skinned, she's got long hair, she's got this great job, something that they wanted. But I can honestly say, and you need the Lord to do this so that you could be worthy enough for your wife. It's not so much that I'm like bending to her will or she's bending to mine. For me, what they say at Chick-fil-A, it's my pleasure. How can I make you happy? It's not, what do you want? And I think I needed that single time. And it may have helped me because I'm more really solitary kind of person anyway. So yeah, you need that single time to just make sure that you are right with yourself.
I agree with everything that they've said because Randy touched on something that I was thinking about. I can't come into a relationship for you to fulfill me. That's right. I cannot come into a relationship for you to be the other half of me. That's just Disney. It need to be two whole people together to have a whole relationship. And you only get that if you're in a place where you're good with you. I mean, we're going to have our bumps because life is going to give us bumps. We won't be perfect. But I need to be able to know who I am to bring to you. And you're needing to know who you are to bring to me. And in that single time, you get that. For me, you're hanging out with your girlfriends, you're talking, or I'm telling everybody I'm busy in my pajamas all weekend and just watching TV and doing nothing. I've had popcorn for dinner several nights and been like, I'm good with it. When you're in the house with somebody else, somebody's expecting somebody to cook, to have a whole meal and do all that. And it's like, but I'm sorry, I'm eating pizza for breakfast and this afternoon. Or I may have worked out and I'm not changing my clothes when I go to bed. But you got to figure out what are all the things that you want to do and you okay with you. Because if you don't know that, you're going to sell yourself out for the idea for somebody to like you. And if you haven't figured that out, then it's like, okay, this is who I am, but can I say that by knowing who I am? And if I can say that, one of the things that was interesting, I'm a very sociable person, but at the same time, I need to have time by myself. Mm-hmm. And my husband and I, we were married. It was just a lot going on. I said, I got to go. This may not be what I recommend for everybody, but he was like, you in a bad mood. He packed the car. I went to a hotel for the weekend. I took myself to dinner. I took myself to the movies. And I came back and he was like, "You're better." I said, "I know." But I was staying home full time. I was taking care of the kids. I was working. I was doing all that. And I had tapped out. There was no space for me. But there was trust and commitment. He was like, "This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. I'm coming back." But if I didn't know that about me, I would have kept trying to be something I wasn't in a relationship. And then I'm not going to be successful in doing that because I can't be but who I am. And if you're not comfortable in that, you're going to start doing things for the sake of pleasing somebody else, but not being true to yourself, and it's not going to work out well.
Or something that often happens with women is they get in a relationship and they become whatever the man needs them to be. So they lose themselves in the relationship because they haven't taken the time to become who they are and know who they
Being
are.
confident in that.
Yes, and being okay with who they are.
Next time on Love Notes.
People are people. People change. And because people change, that does not make God's word non effect.
Oh, that's your man over there. Oh, my Lord, the God has spoken to me. Yeah, this is great. Meanwhile, he's busy talking to Sister Betty over there. And then meanwhile, they end up getting married.
Not doing all that. If he ain't figured out I'm the one,
Yeah.
there are other men out there. This is not Jerry Springer where I'm going to be trying to get your attention, move somebody out the way. Because if I got to do that, when I'm looking down, you back to doing what you doing.